Welcome back to Kayfabe and Cardboard, where storylines meet scarcity. Today's episode, we're going to do a deep dive, full review of Topps WWE Royalty, give our thoughts and opinions on that set release. I know it's been a while. We've been caught up with soccer. I've been very, very busy. But now, since school's starting to come to an end after finishing AP tests, should be getting back to more regular releases. So, Adam, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Just going to your soccer, your sister's soccer state cup, and all the good stuff going on.
Alrighty, so today we are going to break down WWE this past month, what has happened, our overall thoughts on royalties, some of the biggest hits and misses, obviously the WrestleMania patch cards, what's the buzz about it, buy, sell, some discussions, and then we'll show some of our favorite cards from the set. So starting off with WWE recap of the month, what do you think the biggest fallout from WrestleMania? Which storyline has stood out to you coming from WrestleMania?
Well, I don't know if you want to go right into it, but before a couple nights ago, I would say the Obafemi beating Brock Lesnar and Lesnar technically retiring. Um, but obviously that has changed as of this recording. So that was probably, it's still probably fallout. I don't know if that's the right word from WrestleMania, but I thought initially how they handled Oba taking care of Brock was really impressive. And then now obviously a huge um, swerve, I would say, with Brock returning. So how about you? What's your biggest
Uh, I
fallout?
think overall growth of Jacob Fatu from the Monday Night Raw after to where we are now. I mean, he's just an absolute monster. Where he is now in a position where at Clash in Italy, there's a very good chance, especially with Roman's schedule and whatever conflicts he's having with TKO, there's a good chance that Fatu could win instead of this just being a filler feud. And I really like the way they've handled him with the Tongan death grip, that one brawl a couple weeks ago where he put all three of them through the barricade. I mean, he's just an absolute monster that can handle Roman Reigns, and I think they've done a good job of creating a perennial main eventer in Jacob Fatu.
What how about let me ask you any of the younger stars kind of rising after WrestleMania? Anything stick out for you with that?
Yeah, I think the way they handled Fatal Influence's debut on SmackDown was really, really well handled. I mean, immediately taking out the women's tag division and the women's champion, and then having a competitive match. JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and I can't think of the third one. I'll figure it out. But yeah, they've been handled very, very well on the main roster. I mean, the two in the tag division, Fallon, and the third one is what I'll call her. They'll be put in the tag division. I think they could win gold, and then JC Jane, if they wanted to, could very well be the one to dethrone Rhea Ripley. I mean, she's been handled very well.
Yeah, we have a little special face card of hers on a patch relic that we picked up, I think, from Asia a while back, and that's a really, really exciting card just for bringing it back to cards a little bit. If she does get that push, that could be a special one for the PC.
Uh, Do you see any heading into Clash in Italy, which is our next premium live event? Do you see any title changes or storylines that could affect the road to
I
SummerSlam?
mean, you pretty much mentioned it with Fatu. I think that one, I just like even with the Usos and everything else, just the whole idea behind it. I just outside of breaking some character on a couple things when Jay was cracking up on some of the stuff, but like with LA Knight and some of the other stuff, I think Fatu. We talked about it about a year ago with his cards, and I know you started buying into it and then kind of cooled off a little bit, but like he's got everything in regards to bloodline, feud, toughness. Just they could build him up to be an animal, and they are. So I think that to me was the biggest takeaway. How about you? Who else?
I think Gunther has a really, really good chance of becoming WWE champion here. Just because I think that they completely pivoted once they figured out it was a long-term injury, which I'm positive it is what the dirt sheets are saying. So I think Gunther winning the WWE Championship could be a good pivot and lead to matches with the likes of Sami Zayn, Ilya Dragunov, and that could, I think, very well happen at Clash in Italy.
So let me ask you: do you think, um, going back to post WrestleMania and then going into Clash, anybody that was hurt by the bookings, anybody you feel like was, not just their card market, but just in general, is kind of getting buried, or
I wouldn't say anybody's getting really buried, but I am, as recently as this most episode of Raw, I'm very worried for Oba Femi on what they end up doing with Brock Lesnar. I just think that Brock, him not officially being retired, just undoes all the work they did to put Oba over. And especially if Brock gets his win back at Clash in Italy, even if they do a trilogy, I think Oba needs the win here.
so you don't think there's a Gunther retirement down the road?
I just, I mean, it very well could be. I just think they can't have Brock beat Oba. It would completely ruin Oba's character and all the work.
You think if they had my favorite word, the schmaz at the end of one of the match, you think that would save?
The only way it would save it is it's like a last man standing match, and let's say they do like a superplex and the whole ring collapses and both men look strong. That would be the only acceptable way, but Oba needs to beat Brock, 100%.
Okay. Anybody else that's kind of cooled off from WrestleMania that you feel like not who did not get cut, but
Yeah, I was just about to mention people who got cut, but yeah, the tag divisions on Raw and SmackDown are really, really struggling. I mean, obviously the return of the Street Profits has helped. It's a nice little feud over there at the Division. But on SmackDown, I mean, you got R-Truth and Damian Priest holding those titles. Stars like Fraxium, I mean, Motor City Machine Guns, when you had them, you released them and the New Day. It just really depleting their tag team wrestling, which is, when it's at its best, possibly the best aspect of SmackDown. Especially, I go back to SummerSlam last year when they had that TLC match with a healthy division. I mean, that's how you get people on a big time PLE. But there's just not, the division's not good enough right now.
so let me ask you before we transition over to more of the royalty and the cards aspect of it. Share me a little bit about the Penta Javon, like your boys. What about that match? What was your thoughts?
I thought that Intercontinental ladder match was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, booked really good. It allowed people, because it was on ESPN, it allowed people who had never seen a ladder match before to just be like, wow, that's cool. And I think everybody's getting the spots to shine, and I really like the call-up of Ethan Page has been handled brilliantly. Rusev's finally looking like a monster again. Javon is, yeah, I mean, he's not as hot as Ober a Trick, but he's still over with the crowd, and I think he could eventually get to that level. But I could definitely foresee a fatal four-way happening if Penta retains against Ethan at Saturday night's main event.
Gotcha. So again, bring everything back to the hobby a little bit. Any kind of storylines you mentioned ESPN. Now, I hate to even go here before we get into royalty, but like, I need to find out your opinion on the whole. We're Cleveland Cavaliers fans, and Danhausen with the friggin' curse got us pretty damn bad last night. Again, talk about like how mainstream he became, and then we can bring into Cat and get into royalty. But like, tell me how pissed you were at Danhausen, who's one of your favorite characters.
I mean, the handling of him from his debut at Elimination Chamber to him now going to be going courtside sitting next to Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner, that's just insane. And the fact that the Cavs blew that, it's scripted entertainment on both sides. But Yeah, Danhausen's been handled very well, and he's so over. I mean, we're going to Fanatics Fest this year, at least trying to. I was trying to get the meet and greet for Danhausen, sold out in 2 seconds, and you just can't grab any tickets. It's just showing how the popularity of WWE and Tops and Fanatics just pushing WWE. WWE has the most passionate fans who are willing to spend the most money, who are willing to do these cool things, and Tops and Fanatics are starting to realize that and now are putting more effort into that.
Well, and they have the most accessible characters, players, whatever you want to call it, talent. And I think I got to tip the hat to Fanatics and for that because they really are putting a mainstream ESPN now, crossover, social media, everything. Danhausen's been an A+ with that outside of Kirsten and Cavs, but and the Miz and him going back and forth is really funny, social media and everything else. So let's kind of transition a little bit into royalty. Is it worth the hype? Like, what are you thinking? Let's talk a little bit about the card side of it. Explain to some people who might not even know what royalty is.
So royalty, it's one of the higher end sets that Topps does. I think what is it, 10 cards per box, and like one box, and you get 2 patches, 2 base, and then 6 autos.
Is
And
it 4 or 6 autos? I don't.
it might be 8 per box. Don't quote me on this. Um, but then obviously you get some absolute crazy hits. We'll go into it later when we showcase some of our favorite cards, but the WrestleMania patches are in there, we'll go into that also later. They're just these crazy cards that are boosting the market. You just have autos and booklets and all the high-end cards kind of dumped into one set, which for the WWE market I think is a good thing. And continuing there, royalty, I mean, its design is supposed to feel like a high-end set, and I think it does a really good job of trying to be the Topps comparative to Flawless, which in my opinion doesn't quite reach, but again, we'll debate that later on.
Yeah, I agree. I think obviously the price range wide. I think it's being sold between what $1,200, $1,500 for one box, which is one pack of cards technically. Obviously, premium. The WrestleMania patch 101. So anybody who doesn't know, last year's WrestleMania, the main stars wore a little patch, and anywhere from their towel to their boot to their trunks to their shirt to whatever. And then as soon as it was over, Fanatics or Topps pulled it off, put it into a card, made it a really nice, clean looking one of one. And then some had inscriptions, some just signed it. But the top wrestlers, and then that was supposed to be their marquee card from WrestleMania, and that's kind of like the Topps debut did that as well with, Paul Skeens that sold for over $1 million, the 101. It was kind of, in my opinion, we've talked about this for a long time, that I felt like this is the door opener to shine a light on high-end WWE wrestling, on cards. Again, I've said this since we started the podcast and before. There's multiple six-figure WWE cards being sold. They are all private as of right now. None of them are on Card Ladder. Nobody's really publicized them. But the market is really on fire at the high-end level. And I think this is something a lot of people were waiting for, these WrestleMania patch cards to come out and then to really shine a light on what Fanatics has been doing with the license and how the high-end WWE wrestling market, it's there, just people don't know about it. And again, it's growing, and there's a couple key players, but the reality is, I think for a couple reasons. Number one, I can speak for myself. I'm still buying, so I'm not publicizing all these buys and what we pay for things, and we're known to overpay for things because we know from the soccer market, the Messi, Ronaldo's, as well as any other market, Otani's market, which is insane, and now Wemby's market. If you don't get a chance to buy them, especially their key, really rare cards, we went after the 2022 Prism Black Cena if we never, you get one chance to buy that card, you're never going to see it again. And then if you do, you get it to an auction. So we finally saw, and we talked a little bit about it, the Randy Orton going to auction. That's the first time a bigger wrestling card, most modern, has gone to auction recently. And you can see what happened to it. Celebrities came into it. You can talk about Kat, you can talk about some other people, but and RBI actually getting it in Bannister, and it's like amazing that a true collector actually got the card. It had the whole story of him signing it in his store, and a monster Orton fan, which is exciting just for the hobby in general. But like, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The Rhea Ripleys, the Cenas, all the other ones that have come out, and if they truly ultimately go to auction, on top of all the bounties, it'll just be real interesting to see who decides to dip their toe into the high-end WWE market.
Yeah, I completely agree with your points. And now that brings up the question with all these changes in the market, people getting involved, celebrities like you mentioned, Kat for the John Cena WrestleMania patch, mega Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful's trying to get in on the action. I mean, everybody's looking at it.
Paul's the rumor he wants to buy it.
I mean, all the major players and collectibles are starting to look towards WWE and these WrestleMania patches. So I'm going to bring up the question, do you think Royalty, when it's all said and done, is going to be the true top WWE product, or does Panini Flawless hold the crown?
I think it's yet to be seen. My opinion is that it's going to take some time for collectors, the hobby, and everybody to make that decision. I think what Flawless has going for it is 1 year. I mean, who knows? Maybe, I've always said this, that maybe Fanatics buys Panini down the road and they bring back another Flawless, which could not happen, but it could be a while before that happens. If it doesn't, the way Flawless was done, they're still beautiful cards. I just think across the board, on-card auto, relics, 1 year of it, the crossover with, basketball, football, people just really Flawless being that high-end market. Candidly, full disclosure, I own the Cena 101 and then a bunch of the relic patch autos, and same thing. So I feel like as high as the WrestleMania patch goes, our Cena Flawless is going to be to the moon, because it's probably what I think is personally, I'm selfish, but think is the best card in that set, and from Cena, and outside of the 101 Black 2022 Prism, which I think is his best card ever. Anything that Cena, I mean, that's who we go after, him and Rock, but like, I just personally think Flawless is still across the board the best, just because it's only 1 year, just because it was, it's got such of a across other sports where Royalty doesn't. It reminds me a little bit of how Eminence was with soccer when you had Flawless and Eminence, and we felt like, oh, just because Eminence costs more and whatever, that's great, but Eminence wasn't the same in basketball, wasn't the same in football versus Flawless, and I think that could, a lot of those crossover high end football, basketball collectors that are coming to WWE already might look and be like, oh my God, Flawless 1 year, one group. This is what it is. This is the Grails. What do you think?
Yeah. I am going to say that Flawless overall is a better set, but the bigger impact, I think Royalty might take the crown, especially with Topps being able to promote all these WrestleMania patches, and with everybody wanting to get a piece of John Cena's last WrestleMania winning number 17. We were lucky enough to attend that. I mean, that's such a big moment in the history of John Cena. And John Cena is not just a wrestler. Like Randy Orton, he's a wrestler, and that card goes for 42 grand. John Cena is a personality. Your grandmother knows who John Cena is. I mean, John Cena is so popular that collectors all around could see this as a great investment. I think if this card goes to auction, it could do unprecedented numbers, and that's why I think Royalty, it may not be the top WWE product because of checklist, because of some of the stuff in it isn't quite as high end as Flawless, some of the middle to low end stuff. But I think the impact on the market, royalty is going to have to take the cake.
The one thing I agree with, and that's for just my own thoughts on Flawless, I said with one time, it was Cena's 17th and his last WrestleMania. And it's the first time royalty was made and the first time with WrestleMania patches. So it's a perfect storm to be the grail of all grails. And again, I think that whatever that sale is, 250,000, 500,000, who knows what it could be. I think it's just going to, all of a sudden, people are going to look and see what we've said from day one, which is the Rocks, the Cenas, the Hogans, the whoever you want to say, is your Mount Rushmore of collecting, has such a small amount of high-end collectible cards. 3 years only of Prism. That means 3 only black 101s. Same thing, 1 year of Flawless, Impeccable, Immaculate, NT, very small runs of those across the board. 1 year of Kabooms. Those are just people are going to realize, oh my God, if I want a Cena Kaboom or a Rock Kaboom, I have to go get it. And I think that's where, I do agree that this WrestleMania patches are going to just lift the whole wrestling market. And I know some true collectors are upset because that means prices on everything go higher, but that just brings more eyeballs into the market. And again, selfishly, our 2006 Superfractors, people are going to realize, oh my God, this set is the most amazing set ever because it's the first year Chrome, first year Superfractor, can't find sealed boxes anywhere. Oh wow, but once people actually are educated on some history and it's not just super modern, I think they'll realize how hard it is to get true grail pieces in WWE of the top legends. But I think it's 1A or 1B. It's still amazing.
Yeah. Why don't we go into a little bit of buy or sell here? So I know that we were talking about the difference between royalty or Flawless, but do you think, out of all the sets that have been released after Flawless, that Topps Royalty is the best WWE product since Flawless?
I'm going to say buy. I think it is, just because of WrestleMania patches. I'll be honest, if it didn't have the WrestleMania patches, I would think first year Chrome was amazing, and I thought that was a great set. I like some of the other ones they have, and it'll be really, really interesting what they do with Dynasty, because obviously that's got some high end across the board other sports, but the reality is these WrestleMania, first year WrestleMania patches and such key people and key moments, and Cena being the top. It'll be real interesting what Rhea Ripley's does too. That's going to be a 6-figure plus. My opinion, and depending which one gets pulled first and how it gets sold, but I do think because of the WrestleMania patches, it's a buy.
I'm actually going to go ahead and sell this, and you didn't even bring up this set. I think that second year Chrome is actually probably the best WWE set since Flawless, just because, I mean, there was so much of it, and there was so much to promote. There was not only the Raw debut patches, Raw and SmackDown debut patches of Stephanie Vaquera. That's probably, people speculate, that could be a 6-figure card too. There's also Garbage Pail Kids, which are super short print, 101 Superfractor versions of those. Joe Hendry's first card of rookies autos. Breaker's Delight, I mean, that's probably for the price point, some of the best cards that you can get per box. And then also, I mean, you can get blasters. They do the buyback program with Liv and Roman. You pull one from a blaster, you practically make your money back on a base. And I think that's what's cool with Chrome, is that everybody can get into it. One of the problems that I have with Royalty is that it prices out a lot of the people. But with Chrome, everybody and anybody can do it, and all the most hobby local card shops, lids, whoever sells cards, they're gonna have some WWE Topps Chrome 2026. And I think a lot of people's attention turned towards 2026 Topps Chrome, so that I think it's the best WWE.
And again, I look at from the high end level, you look from the whole level, and we can agree to disagree.
Yeah. Alrighty. The next one, we're gonna go with. Do you think that WrestleMania patch cards after their initial, so let's say they make another royalty with WrestleMania 42 patch cards, do you think that the WrestleMania 41 patch cards will hold their value, or do you think they'll eventually go down?
I personally think they'll hold their value and go up. I think that these numbers are so small compared to what baseball debut, patches are. And again, I know it's not debut because not they could have it again next year and the year after, but first year anything holds a huge value. I think first year WWE WrestleMania patches are going to be. I think the whole market's going to go way higher, and I feel like Randy Orton, $40,000, $50,000, whatever the number is on the patch, and then anything on Rhea or even Cena for that are just going to look like steals in a couple years, just purely of the market. So I'm buying that.
Yeah, I'm also going to buy that. I mean, even some of like the lighter names, like I think confirmed sale was maybe Jade Cargill's WrestleMania patch sold privately, I think for 7,500, which is just
So cheap. Yeah.
ridiculous. I mean, WrestleMania patches minimum should all be going 10 grand plus for the Ivar Erics of the world. For a Jade Cargill, that card could eventually be 25 grand plus, which is just to show you the value that WrestleMania patch cards will eventually hold. So I'm going to buy that. Alrighty, we're going to move on to number 3, which is that right now, modern stars are safer investments than legends right now.
I'm selling, selling, and selling. I couldn't sell this fast enough, and I'm never going to change my thought on the Cenas and Rocks versus the Tiffany's or whoever it might be. Even Oba, as hot as he is, like you said earlier, Trick, whatever it might be. One bad booking, one bad something happens, and their card prices are going to level off, and the next new hot thing is going to come through. And I think that's something where I feel like the legends are legends. You love him or hate him, The Rock, he's The Rock. Love or hate him, same thing with Hogan or Cena or whoever it might be. I think they're just, for the most part, much. I think modern stars are much more risky than legends, so I'm selling that. How about you?
I'm also going to sell, and especially what you were mentioning with the booking decisions. I mean, even seeing Brock Lesnar come back, I mean, that scares the shit out of me just because, I mean, Lesnar beats Oba, poof, there goes all the entire market, all the momentum, just gone in an instant. Or something like The Undertaker can't lose the streak anymore. He can't, like, go down in value necessarily. And I think legends are just by far the safer investment.
I think also you can keep printing more and more. Not that you can't keep printing more Cenas or Rocks, but like you can keep printing a lot more accessibility to newer modern stars when the true grails of those legends, there's only a handful of them. So
Alrighty, we're going to do one last one, and this is in general. Do you think for newcomers into the WWE market, let's say their kids watch it, they want to start collecting, do you think it's better for them to open boxes or buy singles?
that's a loaded question because I think the smarter way is buying singles. And I'd put it this way: if you're gonna do it as an investment, buying singles all day. If you're gonna do it for fun and in a budget, I don't care if your budget's $1 million or $10, and you're willing to lose 50 to 75% of your for entertainment value. I mean, we talk about this all the time. Uh, I have to be willing to say, hey, I'm gonna open a royalty box for $1,200, $1,500, and be willing to I had $1,500 worth of value or $1,200 worth of value. I'm not trying to get an ROI on that. Yeah, maybe we get lucky and in one of the breaks you got your Gunther 101. That's going to pay for a lot of other breaks we did. But like the reality is, we knew going in any of that money is a gamble, and it's in that gambling pot. The investment pot is, and investment's maybe not the right word, but I don't want to lose it all. It's not going to lose 75% value right away. It's buying the singles. So I think as if you really could maybe do a blaster if you're brand new and have some fun with that. And to your point, like on the Chrome stuff would be ideal because you can maybe get a base and pay for it, or go back to your local card shop and be able to get more product or get more something with trade-ins. I think that's great. But if you're looking to do, I think it's $100 and more of something, I'd be looking the singles route if I was new to the hobby.
I completely agree with you. I mean, especially coming in, I mean, a lot of people might be like, "Oh, I can buy my favorite stars Oba. I can buy Oba in a royalty break for this amount for 5 cases without actually having to open the boxes, not willing to get Oba." It's still a risk, and that's why I think I wouldn't break or I wouldn't open boxes unless it's small end or you're doing it responsibly, knowing the risks. So I would definitely buy singles coming in new to the hobby. Alrighty, starting to wrap things up. We each have a couple of cards here from Royalty that we either pulled or bought that we want to showcase here. So I'm going to start with this. Let's see if we can focus it in. It's Roman Reigns auto numbered out of 49. So we're talking about WrestleMania spikes. I mean, Roman Reigns definitely had one of the biggest with that win over CM Punk in a main event that was really, really overall solid. And I think him coming back, being a full-timer, and I just think this Royalty set, the Sapphire Signatures, good imaging, really clean on-card auto. I just really like it.
I think that's awesome.
All right, what do you got?
What I got here is a casket relic. This is from The Undertaker, which I think is really cool. So here's an example of a card that doesn't have to need a signature to be really cool. And this is literally from a casket in one of the events, and they cut it up and put it into with a really cool picture and a really nice design. So I joke around an event worn casket or an event used casket, which meant it was actually in a WWE event that Undertaker was in and part of the casket. So I thought that was really, really cool. And it's an example where you don't need an auto on everything to make it an amazing card.
That's sweet. All right, this next thing I'm going to show you is probably my favorite piece that I own currently. So my favorite star obviously being Javon Evans. That nasty patch auto numbered green out of 5 on the booklet. And I have one in my t-shirt drawer so you can see the t-shirt where the patch is from. Matches up.
That's really cool.
I mean, obviously his market, it's kind of slowed down a tiny bit since his call-up, but I mean, one Money in the Bank, one Royal Rumble, shocker. I mean, it can just go up. But again, that's speculative buying. I collect him because I like the moves that he does. But again, that's the risk when modern buying.
Outside of the WrestleMania patches, which I don't have one to showcase because we don't have one, unfortunately, the booklets, I think, are the second best piece to Royalty, in my opinion. So we have another one here. So if you see on the front, it's a 101, and we actually ripped this, and I think it's on your IG. We thought this was going to be a monster, and it's a monster, just not in the way we thought it was going to be a monster. This is an Otis, 1 of 1 with a really cool, same thing, a patch. Again, maybe if somebody's watching this and is a PC Otis, let us know. We'll hook you up. But it's super cool. It's a great photo, the free Otis, as well as, the patch with it. And then just the 101. And so this is something cool. It comes in a booklet if you take it out, but these one touches make them, you can display them so nicely. And I just think all the different booklets. The 101s have cool patches. The out of out of 25s even have really nice, unique patches. I saw it was a Ray Phoenix or Dragon Lee or somebody had just a really cool looking, lots of color, lots of um, the lower the number, the better the relic or patch
Yeah,
usually.
I mean, I think Stephanie Vaquer's went
Is it
to
best one?
auction. That one's at auction right now on eBay, if I'm not mistaken. And then that Dominic Mysterio might be my favorite patch of him kissing Liv on the 101. I mean, that's just one of the best patches in a WWE product. Alrighty, wrapping things up here. I feel like this Topps royalty overall was a major home run swing for Topps in moving the WWE market and showing that they care and want to actually move things forward. Uh, so overall, I think 10 out of 10 set, very well done by Topps, and the WrestleMania patches just is exactly what Topps needed to get publicity in the WWE cards. So,
And let
go
me
ahead.
ask you before we jump out, um, and don't use what I will pay for the Cena uh, WrestleMania patch because I'm not putting that out publicly. But what do you think it's going to go for?
I think if whoever pulls it should not, uh, they should put it to auction, and I would say Golden or Fanatics Live, and I think it will end up going for 250 grand.
Okay. What's the
Alright.
highest bounty on it right now? What, 100, 110? I know Rye, I think Cat did what,
Rye has
60, and
100.
then and Jameson did what, 75 or something like that, and then Rye Dollar Rips did 100, and I think was it 101 card shop or one of them did 100,000 plus 10,000 break credit or
Yeah.
store credit.
Yeah, I
Have
think
you put
that.
out your bounty on it yet? You have to sell
Um,
your NIL
um,
rights for your soccer or something to try and raise the money.
yeah. I've, uh, I don't think I'll quite be able to afford it, but I'll have to
You never
take.
know.
Uh, you
Your
never
school
know. You're
loans.
right.
No.
We'll
No,
pull it.
I just think, again, I'm just excited. I think Fanatics has done an outstanding job. And then bringing in the social media piece to it, the celebrity piece to it. It'll be real interesting if it does go to auction, where they auction it at, and then who is promoting it and what celebrities get involved, and then where it really goes. And I think that just is going to be a taste of, and I've mentioned this before, all the other private sales that happen in the WWE market will be exposed, I think, in a good way. Because I think people still, I see all these things like, oh, the highest Cena sale is this, or highest Rock sale is this, and like outside of that Hogan sale, the Rock Prism from 2022, a couple hundred, 120,000. I'm like, those things will get blown away with what's really going on in the market. And I think people at the very tippy top high end don't realize how much money and how much people are paying right now to get the grails. And I think they're still cheap based on what it'll be a couple years from now. But I think the more and more we saw this happen with soccer, as soon as a couple whales get into this, it lifts the whole market across the board. So it's good and bad depending how you look at it. It's great for your value of your cards. It's bad if you're still trying to buy, and everything's double, triple, extra zero on how much you're trying to get some grails. But it's a little bit of a race to get those key pieces for your collection.
100%. Thank you guys for tuning in to Kayfabe and Cardboard, where storylines meet scarcity. Hopefully, our upload schedule will vastly improve now I'm getting out of school and soccer season's coming to a halt going into preseason for high school. I'll try and write some more blogs, but thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys have a great rest of your days.